Yes, sir, we're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Marvel Legends Spider Build-A-Figure Wave Doc Ock figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beasts, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
And a quick look at the artwork on the side of the box. Same artwork on both sides. 7 figures in a wave, however, you only need 6 to complete the Spider Build-A-Figure. Doc Ock does not come with a Build-A-Figure part. Alright, so I have Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus, out of the package, and this is a solid offering here from Hasbro. Definitely an improvement on the Dr. Octopus of the past. Toy Biz's version wasn't so bad. They put out a few with the same buck but different deco, if I'm not mistaken. But this was definitely something we needed from Marvel Legends. As it stands right now, Marvel Legends has put out every member of the original Sinister Six. Unfortunately, we don't have all of the matching old school costumes though. So we still don't have a complete classic Sinister Six from Hasbro. His bio reads, Otto Octavius gears up with 4 mechanical tentacled appendages as the evil genius Doc Ock. And like I've mentioned at the beginning of every one of the reviews for the figures from this wave, Doc Ock does not come with a Build-A-Figure part. Instead, he comes with his 4 tentacled appendages here. And so we'll bust these out and get them plugged in and see how they work. Alright, so there's that. Get a good look at that. I like the paint. I like that little blue paint right in the middle. And this actually rotates as well, so that's cool. But I'll tell you right now, there is no bendy wire in these tentacles. While it is a soft plastic, and maybe you could apply some hot water and loosen it and put it in a different position and then apply some cold water and get it to stick for a limited amount of time. That's going to be your only option as far as moving these. Now, it makes absolutely no sense that Hasbro would improve on this buck and on the overall look and having him be able to stand on his own, but then drop the ball with these tentacles, because the Toy Biz version had bendy wire and the tentacles, and to this day, they hold up. They're still good. They're still in good condition. At least mine are. So that's unfortunate that they chose this route. But some of these come detached in the package, so you just gotta attach it there. Is that how that goes? Let me see. I had it backwards. Okay, so this part is gonna plug into the back of Doc Ock, and these are on like a little ball peg. So being that it is a ball peg, you can articulate it here at the very tip just a little bit. It'll kind of swivel on that joint, but that's it. That's so lazy. It is such a tease, like, for them to do that, man. It's just stupid. And then each arm will peg into one of these slots on his back. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do this. I guess you just kind of put them where you want them. They are all positioned in different ways though. Well, these two are the same and these two are larger. So, and you know what, there is actually some direction here on each individual tentacle. There are some letters, and it says SR. I don't know how well you can make that out, but it says SR and SL. So I don't know if those are supposed to be on the bottom or the top row, but I assume R is right and L is left. So I've got this plugged in on his right side and got that one plugged in on the left, and the same thing with these, except they say XR and XL. So I don't know what that is, but I assume that the smaller one should be on top and the larger one should be on the bottom. It is so disheartening that these individual little prongs don't move. It would be great if they could hinge, and you know, you still had this sort of ball joint here. That would be great, but all they needed was bendy wire in here, or maybe just a couple of hinges in a few different places. Just come on, go the distance here and really knock this out of the park. This could have been a phenomenal figure if they would have went the distance with the tentacles. And with that said, he's still dope. He's still one of the best figures, if not the best figure out of this wave, but he could have been excellent. He could have been stupendous if they would have just went the extra mile and really went crazy with the articulation. So in terms of the deco and the buck, this is a brand new mold here, something that they've never done, but you know Hasbro, they're going to get their money worth out of this, so I'm sure we'll see other characters on this same buck moving forward. We were just talking about this the other day in Plastic and Paint when the images of this guy first popped up, and people were having their speculations, and maybe Toad on this buck, or Red Ghost, or the Mad Tinkerer, or there was like a fat Spider-Man too from Spider-Verse if I'm not mistaken, but maybe a Mole Man. They've got quite a few options with this particular buck, so it'll be interesting to see what they do. I think this is a great body mold though, something that they can definitely build on and do a lot with, so that's cool. Not much going on. Classic green and yellow, or sort of like a mustard. And the head sculpt is pretty nice, and they actually went the distance, and if you can see closely under there, you can actually see his eyes. I kind of wish the glasses moved and you can get them down so you can't see the eyes in certain instances, but straight on it looks fine. And the paint on the tentacles looks pretty decent. You know, they do look like chrome or whatever the hell these are made from. Is it vibranium that he has on his tentacles? I don't know. Let me know in the comments. I don't remember. But yeah, he looks good, man. Not too many paint imperfections or any problems really. The head sculpt looks good. He's got his classic sort of bowl cut, and the glasses look good. His teeth look really good, so not bad here at all. So I popped the tentacles off so I can give you a good look at his articulation. Like I mentioned, this is a new buck, but I was surprised to see that it's pretty well articulated. Not bad at all. Head is on a ball joint, so you can take that off. In fact, you'll probably want to take it off in order to position a neck peg where you want it, and then put the head back on, so that way you can get them looking up. And looking down is not a problem when you have the head on, but when you try to push the head back and get them to look up, it pretty much pops off anyway. So you can position it as far back as you want, then kind of half it on so you can get them looking up or looking forward when you articulate the upper torso. But shoulders on a ball joint, they're going to come up that far. You can do a full 360. You get an upper bicep swivel, you get a double jointed elbow, a swivel, and a hinge on the wrist. You get decent upper torso articulation. It'll rotate pretty far and it'll go back pretty far. I kind of like some figures when they have this little gappage here. You can easily get an A.C.B.A stand in there, so that's good. You can get them going forward a decent amount. Not the best, but no cut at the waist. That would have been nice if they still added the cut there, but I don't know that it's really necessary with the range that you get up here. T-joint at the pelvis, legs going to come up, and he actually gets a full split. I mean, it's funny that they give the characters that don't need it the ability to fully split, and then martial artists and the people that are jumping and kicking and running and doing all types of stuff, they can't split. Makes no sense. But anyway, upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, you get rotation at the upper boot, you get a hinge going back, not too much going forward, but you do get a nice deep ankle pivot on the foot. So like I said, for a meatier guy, pause, he's still got pretty nice articulation. Just to be clear, as far as the articulation with the tentacles go, they will rotate in these joints, and like I said, the very front portion is on a small ball peg that will just pivot just a little bit. It's not even as much as you would like, especially considering how that ball peg looks. You'd think it would get more or deeper range, but it does not. So again, just kind of spin, and if you wanted to swap the arms around and put them in different ports, I'm sure you could. And it should be noted that he can definitely stand up on his own without any support from the arms, although they do help. I guess that's why the smaller one should be on top and the larger one should be on the bottom to help him with his equilibrium and help him stand. But I mean, obviously if you put them all to one side, then he may have initial stand, and you see he starts tilting, then you can actually put them down for support if you want to do that. But yeah, there's a lot of finagling and playing around you can do with this, and it would have been dope if they actually gave him interchangeable hands for his regular arms. That would have been dope. An open hand, two fists, you know, different possibilities. Again, this figure could have been tremendous with just a little bit more. Being that they weren't going to pack in the Build-A-Figure part, they could have just packed in a couple of extra things, a relaxed face, a couple of extra hands, or just given us all the articulation possible on the tentacles. And a few quick size comparisons. On the left, you can see him next to his wave mate, the House of M Spider-Man, which shares the same buck as the Pizza Spider-Man. So a classic Spider-Man next to Doc Ock, they'll stack up like so. And on the right, we have the Superior Spider-Man with the Superior Venom hands, because they neglected to give us clawed sort of hands for Superior Spider-Man. They neglected to give us a whole bunch of stuff for Superior Spider-Man. They could have made that an amazing figure as well. I'd like to see them do this guy over and give us the extra arms for Superior Spider-Man. But yeah, that's how those stack up. All right, let's go for a few more here and talk about Sinister Six and different versions of Sinister Six. So on the left here, on the left and right, we have the Sandman Build-A-Figure. Actually, the one on the right was part of the SDCC, I guess that was 2017 Raft box set, or was that 2016? Because 2017 was the Battle for Asgard set. So yeah, I think that was 2016. Obviously I'm doing this off the top of the head, as I often do. So correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yeah, and then they ended up putting out the colored version as part of a Sandman Build-A-Figure wave after SDCC. So if you wanted to get a kind of relaxed, powered down, but still kind of huge Sandman, you would either have to take the arms from your SDCC version and paint them to match the deco of the Build-A-Figure, or you'd have to get an additional left and right arm for the Absorbent Man Build-A-Figure and paint those and pop them on. And that's what most people did, because this was the same buck as the Absorbent Man Build-A-Figure. So even when you do that, if you do that and you have a regular powered down Sandman, it still is sort of more of a modern look for Sandman. I think he was appearing much bigger in his normal state in more recent times. He was a little I don't feel like he was that big in the more classic versions or the classic look for him, but you can finesse it either way. The bottom line is Hasbro should have given us the correct arms, where you don't have to have these sandy arms or discolored arms popped in when you just want a relaxed setup. If you just want to have them sitting around at a table or something like that and they're not actually utilizing their powers, then it looks kind of stupid. But moving right along. And then we have the Rhino Build-A-Figure on the left and Shocker on the right. And it should be noted that the Spider-Man animated series had their own version of the Sinister Six. And on that roster, they had Shocker and Rhino. They also had Chameleon and Scorpion. And while we have received the Scorpion from Hasbro Marvel Legends, it's not that same costume that they had in the animated series. Not that I would really want that, but it would be nice to have the option, I suppose. We have not received an updated Scorpion figure from Hasbro yet, while the Toy Biz one here does still hold up pretty well. It is still a nice figure, and it has bendy wire in that tail back there too, so you can articulate that tail. I'm hoping that when Hasbro does finally give us a classic Scorpion, which I'm sure they will, they take it the distance, unlike what they did with Doc Ock here. And there he is next to Mysterio on the left, which has been a very elusive figure at retail. He's been hard to find. I'm hoping to get a couple of more at some point. I may have to just bite the bullet and purchase one on eBay or something, because it's been extremely difficult to spot this guy in the wild. But that's sort of like a classic Mysterio. If I'm not mistaken, there was like a Ultimate Mysterio or a different costume that I've seen pictured in different places. Hopefully that'll be popping up here shortly. But obviously this classic Mysterio outfit will go with Doc Ock here and his classic sort of look. Although Doc Ock has had some different looks. He's had the white suit and the all like purple onesie thing or something. And he's had a couple of different suits actually. And there was one version of the Sinister Six where Hobgoblin was part of the crew and Kraven was not on the crew, if I'm not mistaken. And there he is next to the Ultimate Vulture that we received in the 2-pack with Ultimate Spider-Man. Not really the Vulture that everybody wanted. Everybody, I think, wanted an updated classic Vulture. And on the right we have Kraven, which is part of that sort of original core team of Sinister Six that I'd like to build. I mean, there's been so many different versions of Sinister Six, I can't even really get into all of them, but I'm just kind of skimming over the base core members. And you can see how nicely the old Toy Biz classic Vulture still holds up. He's still a pretty nice figure. Not really in line with the design of how Marvel Legends are being made and painted and how they look today, but he still is a great standalone, nicely sculpted, nicely painted figure. But I'd like Hasbro to take a crack at a classic Vulture. I wasn't really invested in the ultimate version. And on the right we have Electro, which is like a modern look for him with this head and this costume, but they ended up also packing in the classic head, which you can see here, without the classic body. So we still need a classic Electro to build a classic Sinister Six team. And I don't have the hands on Electro here because I really hate the hands that they packed in with him. It was just the version with him pretty much utilizing his power. And again, if you don't want him utilizing his power in your display, then you got to look for other options. And finally, there he is next to his Toy Biz counterpart, and this is a figure that was highly sought after during the Toy Biz days. And even after Toy Biz gave the mantle over to Hasbro, I feel like a lot of people were still trying to track this guy down. So he was going for a decent amount of money on the secondary market. I will bet that that price has since dropped with the pending release of this new Doc Ock, which overall is the better figure as far as the sculpt and everything and the size. And obviously this Doc Ock is way too small with a pizza Spidey now. You know, the proportions are much better with this newer version, but Toy Biz had it right with pushing an envelope and trying to give you a lot of bang for your buck and giving you as much as possible for $8.99 or $9.99. So as you can see, the arms on this one, they can articulate at every point because it's bendy wire throughout the entire apparatus here, and then they're actually articulated here at 2 points. So there's 2 hinges there, so you can get them clasping Spider-Man's neck or whatever you want, and you can position these how you want. I mean, that is pretty amazing for so many years ago. And just a close-up look at the 2 of them without the tentacles in. Again, you can see how much larger this newer version is than the Toy Biz version. And so the moment I saw this figure and was able to ask somebody at Hasbro whether or not it would have bendy wires on the tentacles, I did. And that was at Toy Fair last year at Hasbro's private event. I got a chance to interview some of the people from Hasbro, got a chance to chop it up with Dwight, and I asked them if the Doc Ock had bendy wire in the tentacles, and he told me no. So at that point I knew that I wanted to try to see if the arms from the older version would fit for the new one, and to my surprise they do. So I actually saw my man Craig Warwick do this first because he was one of the first people to get the wave and put up reviews. He actually did like a live stream, and I watched his live stream, and while they don't plug all the way in, it's good enough. If you wanted to heat this guy up a bit and push them all the way in and leave them in permanently, I suppose you could. Or I suppose you could get them out even if you did heat it up and push them all the way in. I'm not going to force them all the way in because I do like the look of the stock tentacles, but these absolutely do look good, and it gives you way more playability and posability. It's funny because basically what this does now is raise the price of the original Toy Biz Doc Ock on a secondary market again and makes it a highly sought after figure again because people are going to want those arms to upgrade their new Doc Ock. It's funny how those things work. One final size comparison. This is a little random bonus here, but in the middle that is the body from the cloak figure from this wave with the Pink Panther head on that body. So it was I guess it was the Walmart exclusive Pink Panther that I had repainted all black, and then I also kind of put a little dab of crazy glue on his necklace to keep it down to his chest there. But yeah, if you wanted to swap on that head on the cloak body, you could have a much more buff Black Panther, although I don't like the lower feet, the boot look. I do like the sort of more triangular feet. But yeah, I still do think this is better in proportion though, and looks really clean. Whoa, that took longer than expected. We are rapidly approaching 20 minutes, so I'm getting out of here. Despite some of my complaints throughout the review, I still do think this is a very solid offering from Hasbro overall. It's one I would recommend. You don't need this guy if you want to just complete the Spider Build-A-Figure. I don't see too many people wanting to complete the BAF and not pick this guy up. Not going to happen. This is one that a lot of people are going to be after. So get out there, get on the hunt. Once again, big shout out to my man Ben and all of the people in the Marvel Legends UK group for making these reviews possible. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
That's crispy.